All right, today we're going to take a journey deep inside one of your body's most incredible and seriously hard-working organs. Think of this as your official user's guide to the stomach.
You know, it's a question most of us probably don't think about much. But the answer? It's this amazing story of chemical warfare and pure muscular force. That bite of food you just took? Well, it's about to go on one heck of an adventure.
So what exactly is this thing? Well, picture a J-shaped muscular bag, kind of tucked away up in your abdomen. It's got two main gigs, acting as a temporary holding tank for your food, and then, starting the whole demolition process.
Okay, to really get a handle on this, let's go on a quick tour. We're just going to follow the path your food takes and check out the lay of the land, region by region.
First stop is the Cardia. That's the main entrance where food drops in from the esophagus. From there, it swings by the fundus, which is this dome-shaped part up top that, fun fact, actually collects any air you swallow. Then we get to the main event, the body. This is the biggest part, where all the action is. And last but not least, we arrive at the pylorus. Think of it as the bouncer at the exit, carefully deciding what gets to move on to the small intestine.
Okay, now this is cool. The stomach wall isn't just a wall. It's got 4 distinct layers. You've got the inner mucosa, which is where all the chemical-producing glands hang out. But the real star of the show, for me at least, is the muscular layer. Get this, it has 3 different types of muscle, all running in different directions. They all contract together to churn and mash your food. It's literally like a biological cement mixer in there.
All right, let's talk about the main event, the chemical digestion. This is where the stomach really shows off and becomes a total powerhouse, unleashing this wild cocktail of juices to just obliterate food at a molecular level.
So who's doing all this work? Well, it's a whole team of microscopic specialists inside the gastric glands. You've got your parietal cells making hydrochloric acid, super important for killing off nasty bacteria. Then the chief cells pump out something called pepsinogen, which turns into the enzyme pepsin, a protein-digesting machine. And maybe most importantly, you have mucus cells making a slimy barrier to protect everything. Oh, and don't forget the G cells. They release a hormone, gastrin. That's basically the foreman on the job site yelling at everyone else to get to work.
So you've got all this churning, all this chemical action. What's the end result? You're left with this semi-liquid, super acidic goop called chyme. And that is what the stomach has prepared to slowly send on its way for the next phase of digestion.
Okay, so you've got this incredibly powerful organ, full of acid. That brings up 2 big questions, right? First, how is it all controlled? And second, and this is the big one, how does it manage to digest your dinner without digesting itself?
Well, a huge part of the control comes from your nervous system. You've got 2 settings, basically. The parasympathetic system is your rest and digest mode. It tells the stomach full steam ahead. But then you have the sympathetic system, your fight or flight response. When that kicks in, it slams the brakes on digestion. It's a perfect example of how being stressed or anxious can literally mess with your stomach.
And what about that whole not digesting itself problem? It's solved with some seriously clever engineering. First, there's a super thick layer of mucus acting as a shield. Second, the cells of the lining are packed together so tightly that nothing can leak through. Third, and this is wild, the stomach lining completely replaces itself every few days. And finally, it has a fantastic blood supply that can rush in and repair any little bit of damage almost instantly. It's just an amazing feat of self-preservation.
But, like any complex system, sometimes things can go wrong. Let's just quickly touch on a few of these system errors that can happen.
So, gastritis. That's basically when that inner lining gets all inflamed and irritated. And what causes it? Well, it's usually things that mess with that protective mucus layer we just talked about. Stuff like too much alcohol, major stress, some common pain meds like ibuprofen, or a nasty bacterial infection from something called H. pylori.
Now, if that protective barrier gets broken down even more, you can end up with peptic ulcers. These are actual sores, like little craters in the stomach lining. And you'll notice a theme here. The 2 biggest culprits are once again that H. pylori bacteria and taking NSAIDs for a long time.
On a more serious note, there's gastric cancer. It's obviously very complex, but we do know some of the big risk factors. Things like smoking, a diet with a lot of salty foods, and there it is again, a chronic, long-term infection with H. pylori, which can just cause that constant inflammation.
Okay, let's end on a lighter, pretty amazing note. Let's just talk about sheer size for a second. The average adult stomach can comfortably hold about 1 to 1.5 liters of food and liquid. Think about that. That's like a big carton of milk. That is some serious storage capacity.
So, here's the bottom line. Every single day, without you even thinking about it,
This incredible, complex dance of chemistry and muscle is happening inside you. It is a powerful, smart, and amazingly resilient system. So the big question I want to leave you with is, now that you know a little more about what's going on in there, what's the best way you can support it?